serial killing pedophile. Again, because it was a side of me that people hadn't seen, it opened up doors that haven't closed since then. So that I can't tell you how many times I walk down the street and meet people say, "Why are you always playing the bad guy? You always playing the bad guy."
You told a story about a conversation.
You, the good guy.
you told a story about a conversation you had with Sidney Poitier concerning that role. Would you please share that with us?
Sure. Y'all know who Sidney Poitier is.
Better.
Yeah. I tell you, I don't know why, but it's one of the things. It's one of the relationships I'm most grateful for in this industry. But I literally met him my first week of my first episode of when LA Law aired. And I was doing press in New York, and I was flying back from New York to Los Angeles, and my seat happened to be next to him. Wow. And so I told you I love talking to people who have been before, and I picked his brain for 5 hours, and he put up with me. But he's been, throughout my career, every step of the way, every single step, every major turn, he's been there. Back to Streetcar, opening night, because he's 80, 45, he's getting up there in age, and he really wanted to fly out and he couldn't make it. So opening night, my parents are in the dressing room. It's 30 minutes before the curtain goes up, and Maria, my assistant, is there, and she says, something's coming down the hall, and these big, huge bouquet of flowers, white flowers, came into my dressing room, and I said, "Man, that's incredible." She said, "That's from Mr. Poitier." I said, "Wow." I said, I got to please call his assistant and let him know that I got it. I want to thank him. So she called her right away. She said, "He wants to talk to you." Now, this is 30 minutes before my opening night of Broadway. And she hands me the phone, and he says, "I just want you to know that you go out there and and he said, you just be. Don't push, don't pull, just be." And he gave some other huge words of encouragement. But he's been extraordinary. But in terms of Just Cause and playing that role, because I was concerned after playing good guys for a long time, and because there still aren't enough African American actors. There's much more now than there was 85. But to play that kind of role, a serial killer and a pedophile, and this was a character who had raped and murdered a 12-year-old white girl in the South, in Florida. And I was like, I mean, it's a huge opportunity, but do I really want to play that kind of role? And I sat down and talked to him about it, and he said, the bottom line of what he said was, there has to come a time when we as actors of color, and specifically black men of color, should be able to play good guys and bad guys, and everything in between. And there's so many coming, he mentioned the whole list, with Danny Glover and Lawrence Fishburne and Morgan Freeman and others, Denzel, of course, who are coming along, and he said, you play that role. He said, I went through that so you wouldn't have to. So you play that role and you play it well.
That's great.
That freed me up just to have fun.
Yeah, that's terrific. And I know you.
But because of that relationship, I take it very seriously. That's why I enjoy being here today, to talk to young people who aspire to be in this business, whether it's this industry of show business or other businesses, which I think is that I'm involved in. But I've been very grateful to have people, angels, in my life who have supported me. And sometimes those angels just give a word of wisdom. Malika is one of those angels. When we stepped into this world of the literary world, to publish books, I had never done that. This was your world, you two. And you were kind enough to let me partner with you. But it takes somebody who believes in you. And Judith Kerr was our publisher at Simon & Schuster at Atria Books, and then Malika, who's our editor. It takes a village, for real.
It really does. I mean, there are so many directions I want to go, and I also want to open it up for questions, but there are two things I will ask before opening it up. You are very thoughtful about the roles you take and don't take. I won't ask you to name projects that you didn't accept, but what goes into your process? Like, what would make you not take a role?
I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't want to embarrass my wife and my kids.
Okay. That's good. Right.
And that's really it. I mean, if I don't, not only do I not mind playing the bad guy, I quite like playing the bad guy. And the reason is because to understand what is right and what is righteous and what is good, you have to have evil or the dark side to balance that out. So my question is, and that's probably another aspect, I have to make sure that the overriding theme or the moral to the story in that moral, that what is right and what is good wins out. I don't mind playing that negative aspect within telling the story, but if it's a whole flip side where you're going down a whole path I don't believe in.
Right.
And usually it's a dark side or it's satanic, whatever else. I'm not going to be a part of that.
Right. Right. I also wanted to talk a little bit about Tennyson Hardwick. Have any of you read the Tennyson Hardwick series that we do with Blair? That was actually Blair was the one who first came with the idea of a collaboration, and Steve said, let's make it a mystery series, and we put it all together, in part just by way of explanation, because it is so difficult. It should not be that difficult, actually, to create a detective character in film who happens to be a black man. We did just have Alex Cross. We did have Devil in a Blue Dress many, 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 many years ago. But it's so, the projects that you think, I can understand it takes a while to get a supernatural project launched. People don't quite get that, black people, but a detective, but it's so difficult sometimes, those roles that would seem so easy. So we came up with the idea of creating these books that are really, like Steve likes to say, they're novelizations of movies that have not been made. They're sort of in a fantasy world. So the book covers are movie posters, and Blair is the actor, and also we had many, many long conversations in LA at Blair's favorite breakfast place, discussing this character of Tennyson Hardwick. So
one thing I'd like to say very, very briefly, that you said that actors should do the stage. I've been asked by a lot of young writers what kind of writing classes they should take, and what I suggest to them, I said, forget writing classes, take journalism and study acting, because actors study character from the inside out. They study it intrinsically as opposed to extrinsically, not just tics and so forth, but what's going on the deep level. So a lot of people don't understand how did three people collaborate on these books. And what Blair did was he kept us honest about the character of Tennyson Hardwick. It's everything is relating to his journey, what's going on. And then there's a gap between, he's a somewhat unreliable narrator. He does not see himself. He is a better man than he sees himself as being. So if you catch the difference between his actions and what he says about his actions, that's another level of subtlety that very few writers manage to get. And that's one of the things that Blair brought to it by feeling his way through the character as opposed to writing about a character moving through a landscape. It's what is the internal journey? What's the external journey? So that made it just wonderful working with him.
No, it's been amazing. I mean, and you're right. We get that question a lot. How do three people work together? But it's important to know your strengths. We all have the three of us have different strengths. So we all bring that to the table. So I don't write. That's not my thing. I'm real clear on that. So I don't get in the way of that. But what I do enjoy doing is, and I think I have a little understanding of it, is character. How character works. So
you produce. I would say that you produce them.
Right.
That you. Everything in there, because it's your face on there. Remember what you said about not wanting to embarrass your wife, your family. You're very careful about the way that you are perceived. That idea that there are certain images that Hollywood will not present because they do not feel that it will be commercial. So what we're doing is we're building a bridge to that future. We're saying that there is going to be a future in which black actors will be able to be presented as powerful and intelligent and sensual. And that we're not going to wait for that. It's like, by any means necessary, we're going to create a world in which these images are available for us in the exact same way that those images are available for white audiences. White audiences, not a single week goes by, ever. I've done this experiment many times. Just gone into Box Office Mojo or Variety, or one of these things that takes a look at what's in the movie theaters during that week. Now, you cannot find a single week in which white audiences are not given those images for themselves, and you can barely find a single week in which black audiences have those images. So we're just trying to fit in that gap.
And speaking of images, when our last book came out, transition, yes, we learned that in journalism class. And don't take any writing classes except those here at Spelman, by the way. Take those. Take all of those. When we did the last novel, From Cape Town with Love, the publisher was kind enough to give us a little budget, Blair a little budget, to do a video ebook. It was called Ebook. It's still available, book.com, VOOK.com, which is basically an abridged version of the novel with video supplementation. But from those clips, and that was so much fun, we shot those in LA. I got to do a little cameo. Steve got to do a little martial arts scene, so you can watch out for Steve. But we do have the trailer Blair cut together from those clips, and you would swear it's an actual movie. You know, I mean, I think you shot, what, 15 minutes of footage total?
Yeah, about that.
So from this trailer, you'd think it was a full-length motion picture, and I think we're ready to show the clip, right? Yes, we are ready to show the clip. Trailer.
Lights, please. Lights.
Oh, no, that's not the trailer, though.
That's one of the scenes.
Sorry, that's not the trailer. It's the first one. Although it is, I mean, it's nice. I guess.
No, they should show the trailer.
Yeah, show the trailer. Show the trailer.
Working out her iPad.
This is show business, we know. Yep.
No, that's not it.
But in any case, we.
While they're working that out, what I was most excited about when this opportunity came along is, as Tananarive said, it's a book, a video book. But to be able to actually, read, and what you do, because you can download this into your iPhone and your iPad, and I think a Nook can also.
Yes.
While you're reading the ebook, periodically, an icon will come along, and you just tap the icon, and the scene comes to life. So you read the book and you watch it. But it's only we shot 5 or 6 scenes. And my feeling was, well, that's kind of my lane.
Trailer, yeah.
We got it now, though.
There you go.
We got it together. Thank you so much. Okay, now we do need the lights. Lights. Thank you.
Turn it on.
So here, I'll judge my distance from you depending upon the situation. You'll follow my directions. I will not take responsibility for your safety unless you let me do my job.
I spent 6 weeks building your children. I want to take her home.
Oscar-winning actress Sophia Bateman has confirmed that her adopted daughter Nami was kidnapped for a star-studded birthday party in Beverly Hills Sunday. The second bodyguard in the failed exchange, 40-year-old Tennyson Hardwick, was questioned and released.
Something happened. God.
I put that child in my hands and looked into her eyes, and I promised her I was going to take her home to see her mother. Put her in the hands of killers. That's what I did.
Stop blaming yourself. You figured out more than he left behind. It's not your fault that little girl is gone.
It's $90 because you were off point.
You can find her, Tim.
I can't do anything for that.
Bam.
I don't know if you could hear that. Could you hear that okay? Back there? Okay.
I would like to open it up for questions, and also we'll be signing books afterwards, so thank you for, we have microphones set up, so I guess you just need to get in line would be the best way rather than me picking. Thank you all so much for your patience.
Hello, good afternoon.
Trailer.
Good afternoon to you.
My name is Anita Sally, and I am a junior drama major here from Akron, Ohio. I dance, sing, act, and write. And I have one question for Mr. Barnes and one question for Mr. Underwood.
He's Underwood.
I like the order of that,
Mr. Barnes, yes. So I'm currently developing my writing skills, and I'm just finishing my first playwriting class. What advice do you have for me as I begin the journey of figuring out how to tell my stories?
Well, first of all, are you primarily interested in publishing or writing plays?
I'm I'm trying to decide between playwriting and screenwriting. Right now, I'm just writing and getting the
Okay,
story
well,
out.
let's assume that you want to do screenwriting.
Okay.
You know, screenwriting for Hollywood in some ways is the pinnacle of what writing is worldwide in many, many ways. So there's nothing wrong with aiming at that. And I'd say that the most important thing you can do is watch at least one movie every week and read the script as you watch it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Underwood.
Yes, Anita. From Akron, Ohio.
So, as a young actor, I often have to remind myself that I'm on a journey and that the experiences I have are just as important as my imagined destination. So I think it will be encouraging for me to hear how your previous life experiences prepared you for Broadway, which you said was your high point.
Go on, Anita. All right. I would say my experience in the theater, you know, in high school doing local dinner theaters, more than anything prepared me for that. Because I would tell you, and people ask this question often, and I didn't know, I didn't have an answer before I had done it. What's the difference between doing Broadway and doing theater? I mean, a stage is a stage, an audience is an audience. And I will tell you now, after being on the other side, the difference is the stakes are higher. There's more money at stake. If your name and face is on it, there's more pressure on you to be successful, to sell tickets. The criticism is harsher. The accolades are sweeter. So just, I think, and again, like, as I mentioned, some of the pushback we got, even though I said I didn't read reviews and I kind of just didn't even deal with it. The preparation for that was being in this business 25 years. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine who I'd gone to Carnegie Mellon with, and she's a Broadway baby. She's done Broadway for the last 20 years. And I was asking her this question. We were in rehearsal. I said, so what's it like doing Broadway? I mean, what's the difference? And she said, well, here's the deal. We were having dinner. She put up her wine glass. She said, see this glass? You are a fish inside that glass, and everybody's watching you, and everybody's looking to critique you. That meant something to her. But my thought was, I've been in Hollywood doing film and television for 27 years. That fishbowl is much bigger than that glass. So the preparation was like, you know, and that's what I'm most grateful for too, because I knew if they just tore us down, tore me down personally, and if we didn't sell one ticket, I knew by the grace of God I had a career in Hollywood to go back to. So just that said, you know, whatever you do, you can't do but so much. I'm just gonna have fun. So that preparation, that's strength and understanding who you are, and understanding that it's all, and even that was preparation for what's to come. You know?
Thank you both.
Great.
All right, Anita.
Good question.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Underwood. My name is Heather Levine Guy. I am a third-year drama major domestic exchange student from Grinnell College in Grinnell, Iowa, and I am also a drama major. I wanted to know, with you going to Carnegie Mellon, which is also a PWI institution, how did that impact you as an actor? How did that, because I often wonder if I am going to the wrong institution, I often become defeated as far as my attitude towards my career with Grinnell not being known for like my choice of, I guess, expertise. I'm not sure as to how to word that, but I often wonder as to if I will be able to succeed coming from a PWI institution with it not being, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not supportive of my career choices, but it's not known for.
Who's not supportive of your career choices?
The school, the institution. Like, it's really hard to work my way into the theater department
This school?
as a black student. At Grinnell College. I'm a domestic
She's an exchange student, and she's
Gotcha,
going
okay.
to a college in Iowa, where you
Gotcha.
don't have the cultural support, is what you're trying to say, my
Right,
dear.
yes.
Yeah. So yes.
You know, some of the greatest actors have never trained. They've never gone to a university or a conservatory. So I don't think necessarily that is going to make you or break you. I think it's just about figuring out what the work is and doing the work and being in the right position, putting yourself in the right place where you can get an agent, where you can get experience doing the work and fail and try again and fail and try again. Every time you fail and succeed, you're growing and getting better. But the business of it, you do need to put yourself in a position, a place where there are agents who can put you in front of the people that are hiring. But in terms of the training that you're doing now, I don't know necessarily if it has to be at a conservatory like Carnegie Mellon or Juilliard or any other place. But go where you're not defeated.
Okay.
And if you can't leave, if you're defeated, keep moving forward and work through it.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Autumn Monroe.